Hello all the viewers and friends. We are very happy with the response that we are receiving for our videos, and we are encouraged with the response that you are all giving us. So we are enthusiastic to do more videos for you. Last video of mine was about prerequisites for yoga practice. So once the prerequisites are set, the next is practice. So today we are going to talk about practice of yoga. What is important when it comes to yoga practice? All of us, each of us practice yoga in different styles. It could be Ashtanga yoga, it could be Vinyasa yoga, it could be Hatha yoga, and apart from the styles of yoga, we all practice with different motives. We expect different things out of yoga. It could be health, it could be spiritual benefits, it could just be psychological well-being. It is different things that motivate us to practice yoga, and different styles of yoga that we adopt. But irrespective of any style or any motive of yoga, there are certain common principles for every style and every motive that we have to follow to be called a yoga practice. Otherwise, it's mechanically just any exercise or just some breathing techniques that we might do. But if I have to call it a yoga practice, then there are certain common principles, and those principles are what we're going to discuss today. From initiation to perfection of a be it yoga, be it music, be it art, we have to perfect something means the path is practice. It requires constant effort and constant involvement, which is very, very important. Okay, so when keeping that in the back of the mind, that it is a constant process. It's not that I follow these principles for one day and I've achieved yoga perfection or any perfection for that matter. No, it's a constant effort. So what are the principles? So when it comes to practice of asana, asana is defined as sthiram sukham asanam by Maharshi Patanjali, right? So most of the times we consider asana as a physical practice. So we see physical stability, physical comfort. If these two things are there, that is sthiram is stability, sukham is comfort. If physical stability and comfort is there, it's called an asana. Not really. If stability and comfortable process is there in the physical aspect, in the breathing and in the mind, so it is sthiram sukham at the body, at the breathing level and at the mind level. If all of these three are at sync, then that's called an asana. It's not also about the duration. You can practice an asana for 1 minute or 10 minutes, that's okay. But are you able to achieve the sthiram and sukham aspect of it, the stability and the comfort aspect of it? So if I have to go a little detail in this, say what is stability? Is it just, okay, if I'm practicing say Trikonasana, am I able to comfortably achieve the final posture, be there? Is it just that? No. Physically, am I able to relax in the posture? Am I able to, irrespective of the stretch, compression, irrespective of keeping your legs and hands in different way, are you able to comfortably be there, stabilize your body there? Are you able to stabilize your breathing, or is your breathing going haphazard? Is it going shallow? Is it going fast? We have to also stabilize the breathing process. And mind, I think it's the most difficult one. When we're practicing yoga, I've heard a lot of people say yoga is happening on its own, but in the mind it's all about what do I cook, what is there, and what are the meetings that I have to attend today, how many patients I might have to see today. So there are so many things that run in the mind. Mind is not really focused on what is happening with your body, with your breathing and with your mind as well. So that is very important. So stability at the mind is your mind focusing on the practice that you're doing, or is it focusing on something else? So that is stability. And focusing on the body, focusing on the breathing, stabilizing the mind, are you comfortable doing it? Or is it happening by force? That is the next step. So stability comes at the three levels that we have discussed. Comfort comes at the three levels that we have discussed. Similarly, for practice of pranayama, practice of relaxation techniques, even here, even though it is a deeper practice compared to asana, to sit in one place comfortably, focusing on the breathing, focusing on what are the effects of the pranayama while practicing it, is very, very important. I might do 12 rounds of Nadi Shodhana pranayama and really not understand what Nadi Shodhana is doing to my body and my mind. I might be thinking of 100 things on the world. So even while practicing pranayama, am I able to stabilize my body, sit in a comfortable posture, adopt the necessary mudras, follow the breathing pattern, regulate the process of my breathing. All of this will happen, and if all of this is happening, then it is a perfect pranayama practice. Relaxation techniques also. There are various relaxation techniques designed for different things: physical relaxation, relaxation of the mind, relaxation of each and every part of the body. So there are various relaxation techniques that are available, and all of this mostly requires involvement and awareness. The next thing is meditation, practice of meditation. When it comes to meditation practice, it is not a practice. Meditation should happen to you. You cannot sit and, okay, I'm going to sit today and try to meditate. No, that's not going to happen. Meditation is like a very smooth flow from numerous thoughts to limited thoughts, single thought and no thought state. It is a very smooth process, and achieving and maintaining in that no thought state is meditation. So if you take the techniques of yoga, asana, breathing, pranayama, relaxation, meditation, everything involves awareness, practicing with awareness and involvement. So that is the practice of yoga. It's common for any style, any motive, any duration, any place that you do. These are the very common principles that we have to follow. With that, I end the session today, or the discussion today. Thank you.